It started like any other morning on the Today Show with Jenna and friends. The set was bright, the cameras rolling, the audience chatting with anticipation. Carrie Underwood, America's sweetheart, walked in with her signature grace and composure, ready to promote her latest album. What happened next, however, would transform a routine interview into one of the most unforgettable live television moments in recent memory. From the first moments in her chair, something in the air was different. Seasoned crew members later described a tension they could feel, a subtle energy that made the usual hum of the studio seem charged. Jenna Bush Hager greeted Carrie with her trademark warmth. "Carrie, it's always a pleasure. Your new album has been breaking records and fans are loving the personal direction you've taken." Carrie's response, though polite, carried an edge. "Thank you, Jenna. I appreciate that. Though I have to say some of the coverage has been interesting." That single word, interesting, was enough to alert anyone paying attention that the day would not unfold as planned. The co-hosts exchanged subtle glances, a silent acknowledgement that the conversation was about to shift. Jenna leaned forward slightly, her tone curious yet professional. "Interesting how?" Carrie's posture straightened, and her voice carried a weight that viewers had rarely heard from her. "There's this narrative that I've abandoned my values, that this album represents some dramatic change that people should be concerned about. And honestly, I find that frustrating." The studio went quiet. Seconds stretched like minutes. Jenna tried to navigate the sudden tension. "I think people are responding to the authenticity in your music. The way you've shared struggles and growth, it's resonating with fans." But Carrie wasn't done. Her hands, once folded politely, now moved with purpose as she spoke. "Why does growth have to be framed as struggle? Why can't I evolve as an artist without being dissected like a case study?" One of the co-hosts attempted to offer reassurance. "Carrie, what's remarkable is how you've stayed true to your core values while growing. That's not easy in this industry." Carrie's eyes narrowed, her tone sharp. "My core values? And what exactly do you think those are?" The room shifted. The comfortable rhythm of morning television had evaporated. Jenna responded carefully. "People see you as someone who represents family, faith, authenticity. Those qualities have made you trusted and admired." The word trusted seemed to ignite something. Carrie leaned forward, her voice lower but intense. "That's fascinating, Jenna, because I'm wondering who decided what my values are, and why everyone is so invested in making sure I stay in a neat little box I never agreed to." The atmosphere changed completely. What had begun as a promotional interview became something raw, something personal. Jenna maintained her composure, trying to steer back to familiar ground. "I don't think anyone is trying to box you in. People just connect with your music and the values it reflects." Carrie's eyes locked on Jenna, her expression unyielding. "And that's the problem. You keep saying what I've always represented, as if I'm a static figure. Tell me, Jenna, when was the last time anyone questioned you for exploring a new perspective?" The co-hosts attempted to intervene, speaking about fans celebrating Carrie. She laughed, bitter and sharp. "Are they celebrating me? Or their idea of me? Because there's a difference, and I'm done pretending otherwise." Jenna's voice was steady but measured. "Carrie, I hear you. But surely you understand why people might be confused when someone they admire seems to reject what they thought they knew." The word reject hit like a spark. Carrie's voice hardened. "Rejecting? Let me be clear. I'm rejecting the idea that I owe anyone an explanation for growing. I'm rejecting the notion that strangers have the right to define me. And I'm rejecting this interview format that forces me to justify my humanity." Silence engulfed the studio. The tension was palpable. Jenna tried to reclaim control. "We're just having a conversation about your music and career." Carrie's reply was immediate. "Are we? Because this stopped being about music the moment you started evaluating my personal values." The conversation escalated, both women refusing to yield. Jenna explained, "When you release music with personal themes, analysis is inevitable." "That's how this works." Carrie's patience broke. She stood, deliberate and commanding. "You're right, Jenna, I know how this works. And I refuse to continue pretending I must participate in the parts that diminish me." The studio froze. Everyone knew this was the point of no return. Jenna, standing, attempted to contain the situation. "Carrie, please sit down. Let's finish this professionally." Carrie's voice rose, carrying authority and clarity. "Professional? Professional would have been asking about my songwriting, my inspiration, my creative process. Not ambushing me with amateur psychology. Jenna's composure wavered slightly. No one ambushed you. If you didn't want personal themes discussed, maybe they shouldn't have been central to your album. Carrie's eyes narrowed further. 3 interviews. That's it. And each one has reduced my work to a psychoanalysis of my life. You're frustrated because I won't provide the sanitized, compliant version of myself for easy television. The co-hosts fell silent. The room had become the stage for a battle of wills. Jenna's voice rose to match hers. We've been professional and respectful. If you're unhappy with the direction, change it instead of attacking us. The word attacking seemed final. Carrie unclipped her microphone with deliberate precision. You're right. I will change the direction. Here's how. I didn't come to be psychoanalyzed. I didn't come to defend my personal growth. And I certainly didn't come to be lectured about professionalism disguised as entertainment. The control room erupted, producers scrambling to respond. Jenna tried one last time. Carrie, please, we can start over. But Carrie was already moving toward the edge of the set. She paused and addressed the camera directly, her voice resonating with clarity and power. You want to know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about how we spent 20 minutes on everything except my music. How female artists are forced to justify their evolution while men never are. How morning television trades real conversation for manufactured drama. Most of all, I'm done being complicit in my own diminishment. The audience and crew were frozen. Carrie's final glance into the camera was a message to anyone who has ever felt forced to stay small. Forced to get permission to grow. You don't owe anyone an explanation for becoming who you're meant to be. With that, she walked off the set. The silence was so complete, the sound crew said they could hear the air conditioning. Jenna remained, visibly shaken, and finally addressed the audience with effortful composure. That was certainly not how we expected this interview to go. We thank Carrie for her honesty. Social media exploded instantly. Clips spread like wildfire, debates ignited across platforms, and news outlets dissected every moment. This was no longer just an interview, it was a cultural moment, a statement on fame, authenticity, and artistic integrity. Carrie Underwood's walk-off reminded everyone that behind every celebrity is a person with boundaries, a person who has the courage to refuse being diminished for the comfort of others. In 20 minutes, a morning show segment became a historic confrontation that would be talked about for weeks, even months to come, and in that silence, one truth remained. Real growth, real art, and real people cannot always be contained.